two, please pay attention to that fact that when it rains, it does pour, especially in the city of Lagos. So please bear that in mind. And in different parts of the nation, in different regions of the country, all kinds of things happen. And the rains are dealt with differently. So please, you know your own peculiarity in whatever part of the country that you are in. So please pay attention. It is extremely important for our health, for our well-being, and for the well-being of others around us. If you are driving, you know what to do when you are on a highway that is smooth. I know the temptation. I know. It's tempting to speed. You could actually be on the road now watching this program, whichever part of the country or world that you are. If it is raining, like it's raining in Lagos right now, and you are going through a road like the Third Mainland Bridge, which has just been refurbished, or you're going through a road like the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, or you are somehow or somewhere along the Lagos-Calabar Road right now, even though it's still under construction, or any of those roads that's just been done in Yobe State, in Kano State, do me that one favor. If it is raining, maintain your speed. It is in the interest of everybody that is concerned. Okay, and talking about regions, I found this very interesting information online, and it's based on data from the NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics, and ProShare Research did something about it. Because, you know, any information from the NBS is usually per state. I'm talking about the economic capacity, the IGR of states and all of that. What really started this for me was, excuse me, I saw a video yesterday of a fellow Nigerian who is of the southeast extraction, and he was not very happy with the way things are. He said something along this line: almost all of those data you find there, the southeast is usually somewhere down the ladder. If you look to the top left of your screen, you'll find out that the regional average headline inflation for December 2023 is, for the southeast, is 29.13%. In 2022, it was less. And the IGR for the state, for the southeast, is less than. What margin can you use compared to the southwest and the northwest and the north central? And we know how industrious fellow compatriots in the southeast are. So what is responsible for this? If you look at, of course, some other data down there, down the page, you'll find out that the regional multidimensional poverty indexes are quite staggering. But my focus really is on that figure on the top, at the top of the screen. Why are the Northeast and Southeast not doing as well as they should? Now, you won't find this data on the page of the National Bureau of Statistics per region, because I don't think the Constitution, as at yet, recognizes the regions in the nation. So, as in the states per region, but it recognizes the states individually. Maybe the next constitutional amendment will look at that, because we're already talking very, very much about all of that. So what can we do? Is it collaboration that is missing? That the IGR of each of these regions of the nations are not as good as they are, not as upbeat as they are? Remember, was it about 2 weeks ago, we talked about the capacity of the states, the sustainability of the states. It's something very, very concerning, because at the end of the day, it all boils down to the cost of living. We'll talk about cost of living later on the program this morning. So is there a role for states? Is there a role for states to collaborate and bond together, form economic blocks? Because that's actually what the ProShare Research calls it. Nigerian economic and regional blocks. We don't have that represented per se by law or anything, but these are realities that we are aware of. So what can be done? Is there a place for governors? Most certainly. For the private sector? Most certainly. So what is it that can be maximized? Because I don't know what it is that the Northwest has over and above the Southeast or the South-South, for instance. They are not up there economically. But hey, I don't know anything. I don't know. I'm just speaking as a journalist based on the facts that are available to us. So that's one thing that it just bothers, you know. We've been talking about Abamid for how long? If Abamid was really something that we want to capitalize on and maximize, we should be talking about huge figures. We should be talking about huge, tremendous figures. The amount of money coming from the Southeast, in fact, the guy lamented in that video that all of the IGR of all the Southeast states is not up to what Ogun State alone makes. And that is a scary figure. Talking about scary, something happened in Abuja, I think it was yesterday, was a fire. And it's very heartbreaking. I read the story and I was literally moved to tears for the woman, one of the people. You know, we understand that there was a devastating fire outbreak in Abuja, and which happened in the Karu market of the city, and a lot of destruction took place. One woman particularly lamented that she has lost something in the region of 10 million naira worth of goods and services. I don't know if it's something that we can actually listen to, because she says her house rent is from there, her school, her children's school fees are from there. I think we'll better hear from her yourself.
At around 6:30 yesterday, I reached house, Mama. I reached house around after 7. My auntie called me that they say Karu market caught fire. And I call my husband, come, let's go. Before I reach here, my 2 shops have burned already. I opened the third one, I cannot see anybody to help me. I was struggling, I cannot carry his bag and bees, all this in I said. I'm tired, I don't know where to start from.
How much did you get?
It's over 10 million.
Don't do.
10 million naira worth of goods and services. And that's just for one person. Now, if we cascade that across all of the people who have property in that market, I'm wondering what exactly we'll be looking at. Now, insurance may play its part. Maybe people may or may not be as well informed about insurance as we ought to be, whether or not that market in any way, manner, shape, or form is covered by insurance, I don't know. One of the things that we are told caused the fire initial preliminary investigation says some kind of electric surge. But however, we'll still find out more details and give to you as time goes by. But that's the account of just one. I'm wondering how many others have had this experience. So what kind of intervention can be given to them? We talk about fire occurrences in Lagos almost all the time, and it's bad enough that it happens. But here is our reality. This one has happened again in Abuja. Can we stop these things from ever happening? That's my hope. Now let's go to the menu for this morning, and one of our first conversation today is about the cost of living crisis. And we'll be looking at that with a couple of people who have also joined us. Development in Cross River State is something else we'll be looking at, as you can see on your screen. And then hotel managers have a conference. Where, when, why, how? Find out the details later on. Hotel Managers Conference Africa. Then Miva's approach to balancing life and education. Please underline education in your mind, because it may or may not be what you think. And then we'll be looking at lifestyle. Lifestyle today, we'll be talking about tech-life balance. You know, we talk about work-life balance, right? Now, tech-life balance. How healthy, how injurious, what do you need to do right now? We'll talk about all of that. And our artist of the week is Shim. He, she, him, her, I don't know. Find out later on the program this morning. In the meantime, can I ask you to do yourself a favor? Get your cup of cocoa, or if it's cocoa you prefer, please go ahead and get it, and I'll be with you right after.
We no know waiting kill him, Papa. That same thing go kill him. Hey. You are welcome to the next level. When I look up, now commotion. When I look down, now frustration. When I look at my side, now bottom. Now so bottom. To reach the top, now connection. If you look at person, now stagnation. When I look my side, now bottom. Now so bottom. Okay. One day, our Niger go good. Now so then they talk. One day, our mumu go do. Now so we talk. This country take our hand. Rise up and take it command. We they see them, we know they blind. We must fight for our right. Anyhow, mambo, this next level, now hot water, bubble up. They just do what you see them with their big belly. Then go they use religion to cause plenty confusion. Sometimes the tribalism, poverty and nepotism. When hunger fire person, you go weak, you know go fit talk again. Today, I say, please go blow. Fire on yash go open it. Masquerade the face go show. Hey, today, I say, para walk on no. Say the owner there for house. Bad leaders, them go. When I look up, now commotion. When I look down, now frustration. When I look at my side, now bottom. When I look my side, one day, our Niger go good. Now so then they talk. One day, our mumu go do. Now so we talk. This country take our hand. Rise up and take it command. We they see them, we know they blind. We must fight for our right. Anyhow, mambo,
Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, Nigeria has struggled with persistent inflation for years due to so many factors. Exchange rate volatility, supply chain disruptions, and other structural concerns. Now, this has put a lot of pressure on household incomes and reduced purchasing power, making economic recovery even more complicated. Of course, to combat the inflationary and exchange rate pressures, you can expect that the federal government will intervene, or the CBN, or whoever, the authorities will intervene the best way they can. They increase the monetary policy rate through the MPC by 150 basis points at the last meeting of the MPC. So many things, of course, resulted from that. Long and short, things are expensive. Long and short, people are having a hard time, and that is for expected or predictable expenses? How about unpredictable ones and several other things? We can talk about this morning concerning the cost of living crisis. Is this the first time that we are going through a thing like this? Some will say no. What did we do before that helped us to balance out? What can people do now? Because then, I don't know if we had the kind of technology we had today, and what can be done to help people do better with things. We have three gentlemen to have this conversation with us here this morning. Monday Ashibogu. Dr. Monday Ashibogu is here with me in the studio. He is a public policy analyst. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we'll be bringing you the other guests in the course of time. But I think Mr. Gbenga Adeoye, a chartered accountant and lawyer, has already joined us. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Adeoye.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Okay. I also think that Dr. Tokwe Fashua, Special Advisor on Economic Affairs in the Office of the Vice President, is with us in our Abuja studio. Okay. Well, we're getting him ready for that. So, Dr. Ashibogu, let's begin this conversation that way. So, the issues are right there in our faces. You know, the complexity of life, the difficulties that people are having, making a living, and all of those conversations are there. But the question that I would like to begin with, I mean, you're old enough to know, is this the first time we're going through this? And what's peculiar about this one?
Well, I think what has made it a bit different is perhaps the consistent rise on daily basis and people feeling as if there's no end in sight to hiking cost of household commodities and also other services that businesses provide. It's not the first time we've seen this. It's something that has been going on, but at the time you find it's more not arithmetic this time, it's more geometric in a sense. So today you get something for 1 naira, and by the time you get into the market tomorrow, you're looking at 5 naira. So it's something that's a bit worrisome.
What if you can just quickly take us back? When was the first time we had this kind of difficulty in cost of living? The last time I remember is what the government of the day then, when they came up with what they called austerity measures. I think that was sometime in the 80s. Now,
no, we've had that in the 70s. We had that in the 70s, and then towards the 80s, we also had that Shagari's austerity measures. And then we followed with the counterpart trading and counter trading, whatever it was called in the 80s, in the then Buhari's administration into Ibrahim Babangida's administration too. So where commodities exchange became another issue, and then people were being given import license for certain commodities. Afterwards, we moved into the austere measures that brought about the structural adjustment program, and we've been curtailing these issues. It's not as if it's peculiar to Nigeria. It's a global thing, but our environment speaks to different peculiarities, and that's why today people can be influenced by factors maybe from insecurity or factors from things you can't control. Extraneous factors like exchange rates, prices of gas globally, prices of crude, prices of finished petroleum products. Then also, as the rates changes, and being an import-dependent system where both manufacturers and producers of products have to rely on factors they can't control, then what you would be having as a challenge is the cost of replacement. And so people would speculate, and because that speculation is something that it's not, there's no kind of certainty in sight.
And no predictability.
So I would just assume that if I buy a shirt for 5 naira today, there's a tendency that it should be 15 naira. So I fix my cost and my sales at 25 naira.
Exactly. So that's what you guys call cost of funds.
Well, we call it replacement cost.
Okay. Well, let me bring Mr. Adeoye in on this one. So is this the first time we're going through this, Mr. Adeoye? What's peculiar this time around?
Okay, let's go back to the 1970s. During the government of General Yakubu Gowon, you recall that the crisis we had in Nigeria at that time was a cumulative failure of government for 10 years. And so analysts came up to say that ill-directed government expenditure as a result of oil boom by the Gowon administration at that time, so for like 10 years. And then we also had the neglect of agricultural sector at that time. And so cumulatively, it made our country to become vulnerable to external factor around oil prices in the 80s. And so my little knowledge of physics as an accountancy student says what we call stopping distance. So when you switch on a fan, after some time you put it off. But the fan is not going to stop immediately you put it off. And so cumulatively, neglect of agriculture, ill-target expenditure of government. You recall at that time, I think Gowon said that the problem of Nigeria was not money, but how to spend it. Of course, he was trying at that time to pacify people after the aftermath of the war. So that is an example of increase in price in the 1980s. And then that led to austerity measures. Now, it was because the military now felt that the pains in the lives of the people was getting too much with the Shagari administration that won election of 1979 when Obasanjo handed over. That led to the coup that brought Buhari into government. Now, at the beginning of this conversation, Ayo, you made reference to some states having issues with IGR. And I'm saying today, without any reservation, without the federal inland revenue and the Nigerian custom, many states in Nigeria should have been shut down by now. I repeat, without the federal inland revenue services and the Nigerian customs, many states in Nigeria should have been shut down. And so they should be hiding their faces for not doing anything around economic development. Now, you talk about the cost of the current situation in the country. Now, factors of production are things that determine prices, but the major universal economic theory of increase in price is actually demand and supply. But like my friend in Dallas will say, he said to me that our economic situation in Nigeria is not what you can learn at Harvard Business School, no matter how many times you go there. So we then need to come to our country to look at the issues that we have on ground.
Well, there are quite a number of them. Okay, we'll come to those issues. I just wanted to have an opening. You still bring that to us. Let me engage Dr. Tokwe Fashua, Special Advisor on Economic Affairs in the Office of the Vice President. He's with us in our Abuja studio. But Dr. Fashua, government is a continuum, and I know that thinking back, when you recall the statement made by the Gowon administration at the time that our problem was not money, but our problem was how to spend it. In recent times, what we hear is our problem is more of a revenue problem, not a debt problem. And then we have this cost of living crisis. At the end of the day, whatever policy it is, macroeconomic policy, microeconomic policy, it boils down to the cost of living. Help Nigerians get a perspective of what is happening really, and what do we need to do to at least have a mental balance to it, and then maybe some trajectory.
Okay, thank you very much, Ayo, and thanks for inviting me. Of course, economic phenomena is always best explained through looking at a multiple of variables rather than a one-track thing. You mentioned the issue of revenue earlier on by state governments and so on, whether we have a revenue problem as a nation. Yes, it's always a constant thing. I think every country does have a revenue issue. Every country is looking to make higher revenue. And every country is looking at some point to be able to declare surplus budgets where they'll make more revenue than they'll be spending in a particular year. That means you are pretty much very comfortable. Regarding what's going on right now in Nigeria, of course, it's not a new thing. After the oil boom of the 1970s, we went into a crash. And then, of course, in the 80s, in the 1979, under Shagari government, into the early 80s, we had another problem. When the military came, again, we had another stress, you know, the austerity measure, 1983, 1982, I remember very much, the issue of essential commodities and so on. In fact, just yesterday, I was speaking with a group of people, and we wondered whether there's any point that, how much reprieve have we got as a nation to say we're not in economic crisis. As a matter of fact, when the colonial powers departed in 1960, they handed over to us a very alien economic system to us, to what we were used to as a people. And you know, the leaders at that time had to just navigate one way or the other. We have made mistakes, all right. I mean, over time, there have been mistakes made. Reliance on single commodities, neglect of agriculture, or even, we may even talk about whether the reliance on agriculture in the first place was going to be sustainable, because here we were, an agricultural country, straight out of colonialism, and we also desired the modern things of the world, you know, and somehow we never found the opportunity to develop capacity to be able to produce those things for ourselves, given our burgeoning population. I mean, we needed cars, we needed electronics and all of that. We wanted good roads, we wanted an airport. So all of that, as you could see, that there's been an imbalance over time. And of course, from time to time, we've also been subject to, you know, extraneous factors, you know, acts of God. For example, what do we call the COVID of 2020, which wasted the whole year 2020, most of 2021. It was 2022, we started to step out somehow. You know, there's been bans in traveling, bans in even commerce, and so on. So I think that what's going on right now, several pronged, and number one will be that I think we should go back to that COVID of 2020. It was a significant event. It was at the level of a world war. Luckily for us, there are two costs of war. The first cost is financial. Another cost is you know, financial and economic, and another cost is human cost. Luckily, we were able to overcome the human cost somehow. It didn't get us down the way it was predicted to, but the financial and economic costs are significant. I was looking yesterday at the balance sheet of the Fed, the U.S. Fed, and of course the Bank of England. You could see a spike in 2020, which has remained so till date. And so every country is having to battle with that. Usually there's a lag between when things happen abroad and when it happens in Nigeria somehow. Because I could see in 2023, the United Kingdom was talking of cost of living crisis. You know, for the first time in 50 years, they had inflation getting to 10.5%. The same thing in the United States. Now they've been able to tackle it. Our own issue is how do we tackle it? Where's our inflation coming from? But most of the inflation driver here is food inflation, which is unacceptable at 40.66%, and it's something that we need to tackle. It's not going to be only as by producing more, which is also something the government is working on. The Ministry of Agric is talking about 500,000 hectares, you know, of new planting, you know, in Jigawa State and 15 other states. The Niger State government is doing a lot in terms of mechanization.
Dr. Fasha,
those are medium to long-term things that will resolve.
We'll come to more. Just 1 second. Please hold your thought on that one. Concerning the food crisis, the economic crisis that we're talking about right now, there are those who would point out, I mean, yes, you said, I mean, the UK and the US, they kind of had their own crisis ahead of us. But there are those who would point straight at the draconian policies that the government came up with, that it's because of those policies that need to be reversed. The fuel subsidy removal, for instance, the electricity tariff hike, for instance, and a number of others that may not even be known to people. Naturally, the business people translated all of that cost
into other areas, straight back to the consumer. So there are those who would say that's a natural reaction. So it's those policies on the one hand. On the other hand, it just happened on people. No one had an idea that this was going to happen.
Well, of course, those two policies were necessary at the time they were taken. We talk about the first subsidy removal. We were tired of all the fraud around the subsidy business and all of that, And so the president decided, look, let's get this done. And of course, there was no provision in the budget in 2023 by the departing government for anything subsidy. And so when the president stated that, look, subsidy is gone, it was basically a rhetorical statement to say that, look, there's no provision for subsidy payment anymore. And of course, Nigerians actually took that well, at least up to a certain point, So those are policies that needed to be taken. Of course, there could be some debate in terms of magnitude of the policy, sequencing of policy and all of that. And of course, the government is also a listening government. There's been a few times when the government has had to say, okay, you know what, this thing is a bit too much, let's slow down on one or two of those policies, So that's that. It is true that also, but we were being enthusiastic to try and get the economy going to a much higher level. But I think that we all need to understand that it's difficult to walk away very quickly from a wartime event such as COVID was. And I think that's what most people are minimizing. Don't forget. So maybe if the UK, US, most of Europe have been through all their own crises up to 2024, January, February, the US was still talking about very high, inflation rates and all of that, and UK did theirs in most of 2023. And many people are still complaining around the world. What I'm just saying is, look at what happened also in Kenya, about a week ago, when they were to introduce a certain finance bill, which was to add taxes on bread and all of that. So I think countries are learning that, look, you have to slow down. But I think countries in Africa, ourselves inclusive, have limited experience in terms of managing the aftermath of this kind of event that happened. It's not what you walk away from in 2 or 3 years.
Well, yes.
I was in the UK.
Just a second, Dr.
2006.
Fasha. I do understand, that the issues. Let me ask our other guests here. I do understand. What happened to us. Reminiscent of a world war, he called it, because it was like an unseen enemy waged war on the entire world, and we were caught napping. But then there are those who would reference that, hey, we weren't caught napping because it was already predicted that was going to happen about 3 to 5 years before that time. But what's your take on, issues that he raised, particularly concerning the policies? There are those who will say that we were living on borrowed time, even before those policies came, that they were necessary. The argument has always been when and how, in a way that it will not affect cost of living as it is now.
Well, I share strongly with the view that those policies were necessary at the time they were implemented. A lot of us had clamored for removal of subsidy, for in the past 10 years. It became so much of a scandalous issue. So when the president announced that he was going to remove it, people actually jubilated about it, not mindful of the consequences that will come out. But sometimes policies needs to be implemented for us to actually see outcomes. These outcomes are unforeseen. There's no way you will implement a policy today without having certain consequences or backlash. Some persons will definitely be in some form of disadvantage. But sadly, in this case, the larger population were just thrown aback by the market force and how it played out. At the time the subsidy was being removed, also was the time the naira needed to be defended. And since we had a free fall and the market just went bonkers, there's nothing you could have done. I think what we haven't done for a long time is that we've always lived with the impression that we have an isolated system that is prone to survive any kind of thing thrown at us. I recall a former CBN governor who is currently the governor of Anambra State saying at the time we had this global financial crisis that those shocks, Nigeria was immune to them. And at the end of the day, he was compelled to get banks to recapitalize. And we saw what happened and how some persons tried to be smart by half also by upstaging the Nigerian stock market. So we will expect that there should be some form of buffers. Sadly, the buffers we have in place is just like throwing a stone into the river and expecting that the ripple effect will go as far as we want. The ripple effects of whatever buffers we've done now, it's like as if it's insignificant. I've been witnesses to government policies, government interventions, both at state and at the national level, to see how people can be alleviated from this aftermath of policies that have been implemented. But when you look at the percentage and you look at the population and you look at the implementation, then we have a challenge. I'll give you an instance. There are 25 local governments in Delta State, right? In one local government having about 10 wards, and in one ward, just the distance from the main roads to the end of that town is 16 kilometers. And you have one primary health care center. And when you come to administer issues like relief and palliatives, that place was the rallying point. The primary healthcare center, despite the fact that it's at the middle of a town, is another 12 kilometers from another community. And you're looking at people who have been impoverished, who are downtrodden, to walk 12 kilometers to pick up these relief materials and go home. So by the time you get there will be chaos. Now, we have that same example I've given to you all around the country. So whenever you have issues, you hear that, oh, they've given out 50,000 bags of rice to the community, or the customs is doing this. You could also see from the stampede that happened at the customs warehouse, where at the time they were giving out some relief materials to persons living with disabilities and some persons who were seen as part of the vulnerable population. Today, if you're going to define vulnerability, you are not defining vulnerability by persons who earn income less than 20,000. You are also defining vulnerability by families today that earn as much as 200,000 and cannot feed the family.
And that is just
so that's the complex nature. So we're not looking at the exposure to vulnerability now is not about just households that earn less than 20,000 income, but households that are earning above 200 to 300,000 can take care of their families
because of the cost of living.
Because of the cost of living. Okay. So these policies, there's nothing wrong with any policy. The problem is, how do we deal with outcomes and the consequences of every policy? A lot of people have said, oh, you took out subsidy without creating a buffer. They were buffers, but those buffers were just like throwing a stone into the sea.
So, okay, Dr. Adeoye, let me ask you this. What's your take? I mean, you also listen to Dr. Fasha and some of the issues that he raised.
I'm an accountant and I'm a lawyer, so I look at things from two angles. Number one, the degree of vulnerability of an economy is a function of the shock absorber that is in place. Now, when you talk of vulnerability, you are now looking at, in accounting, we call a degree of responsiveness of a given factor to changes in another factor. Now, these factors could be external or internal. Now, for Nigeria, the one we had between 1970 and 1980 was an external factor, drop in the prices of oil. Now, what happened in the 80s was because the government, the military government, was not investing seriously on agriculture, was neglected. Industrial revolution and investment was not done properly. The Ajaokuta issues, we spent a lot, but we are not getting what we should get, which would have led to producing cars in Nigeria. Now, let's come back to the recent times from last year till now. Now, the vulnerability of the economy to three changes is actually what is causing this inflationary trend we have, an increase in prices. But I will mention the fourth one, which is insecurity in the north. Number one, when subsidy was removed, prices of petrol went up, and so it increased prices of goods and services. When naira was floated, it increased the cost of imported items into the country, which includes finished goods and essential raw material for production. As of today, last week, I had cause to discuss with a client who said to me they made losses between January and May, and the loss was as a result of the price of maize. They were getting 1 kg of maize at about 800 naira, 700 to 800, which was 250 before. Now, the effect, I mentioned in my opening remark that in physics, there's what we call stopping distance when a fan is rotating, even though energy has been cut off from it. So we do not have enough shock absorber in place. Whereas, if Mr. President didn't remove subsidy on May 29, I bet you if he had attempted to remove it, he wouldn't have been able to. So the best thing he could have done was what he did on that first day. But the effect we are having in the country is not only largely dependent on a fuel subsidy removal. No, it is because most of the items that we are importing are also very essential. So it was the war between Russia and Ukraine that made us to see that, large supply of foods come from Ukraine. And so you then discover that we don't have enough rice in the country. So you notice that prices of rice now moved up to as much as 80,000, 75,000 because of exchange rate. So I would say that the degree of vulnerability of any economy is going to be dependent on the shock absorber that you have put in place.
But the shocks, my apologies, Dr. Adewale, the shocks seem to have been absent for a very long time.
Yes, that's what we are saying.
Yeah, I know.
Government
Just a second. So you are talking about productivity. Dr. Fasher has also mentioned productivity as an element, not the main, but as an element of curbing the crisis that we are having on our hands now. Now, at the end of the day, it comes back to us as a people, whether or not we know what to do or what not to do. So the issue here, my mind goes to the Ajaokuta steel rolling mill. In the course of the week, we looked at the wind farm that was supposed to have been erected in Katsina State as far back as 2007 or thereabout, and we're still talking about that right now. It's not nowhere near being completed. The Ajaokuta plant is also there. So we seem to have a perennial dearth of infrastructure that can sustain any of the initiatives that we're talking about. Where do we go from here? Because I'm asking this because so that people can understand that the cost of living of buying a sachet of water for 50 naira instead of 20 naira or 5 naira goes to all these macroeconomic issues. Help us understand that, and let's begin to coast home to solutions.
Okay, the solution is this, because I spoke about two factors, internal factors and external factors. Now, the internal factors, we can control that. And the only way to control that, I'm sorry to all our governors, I know they may not like what I want to say now. What custom and federal inland revenue is bringing on the table that is being shared by all the governors? Now we're sharing over $1 trillion every month. The effect of this over $1 trillion, you cannot find it in most of the states. So my advice to Mr. President, let's sit down together and say, how do we quickly put certain measures in place? If we are doing ranches in the north to make sure that livestock are produced properly, if we are setting up shoemaking, like you made reference to Abba, you come to Southwest, cocoa and all the rest, investment in technology, before we do our sharing every month, can we take 10% out of this money, funds available for sharing, and then we distribute evenly to the 6 geopolitical zones, and we set up, factories that can create jobs, that we also add value to the economy. These are the shock absorbers that must be in place. For example, if government is deliberate about, say, tomato production, pepper production, maize production, and then we are investing. I'm not saying government should own the entities, but government taking 10% out of what is available for sharing, calling all the business people together and saying, look, we want to industrialize Nigeria. And you base that on the comparative advantage of the respective state. So you look at the Northwest, you look at the Northeast, you look at the North Central, you look at the Southwest, you look at the South-South, and Southeast. You just talk about the IGR of all the states in the Southeast. It's not even up to to my state, Ogun State. Then something is wrong somewhere, because Igbos are actually supposed to be known with commerce. And so what is happening to them?
Okay.
So it means that something is wrong somewhere.
Okay. Well, there are too many issues to raise, but I'm just trying to focus on how to ease the burden of the cost of living on people. Dr. Fashua, what would be your recommendation to people generally? Look, this is the situation we have on our hands right now. This is going to go on for X number of days, weeks, months, or years. These are the coping mechanisms we can come up with as a people.
First of all, I think we should understand that inflation has started to slow down month on month, barring any untoward volatility. I'm hoping that inflation will begin to trend down properly in a month or two, where we begin to see reduction in inflation. Even no matter how people like to increase prices, there's a point at which you will understand that you can't continue increasing prices. And a lot of what has happened by way of inflation in Nigeria has also been some sort of price gouging. In what they call the price formation or price discovery system, it's not as sophisticated in Nigeria as it is elsewhere. So, and unfortunately, most of our markets are sellers' market. For example, food market. Everybody has to feed, things like drugs, selling medicine and so on. You have to take care of yourself if you are ill. So buyers can't begin to negotiate at that point in time. Unfortunately, that's what we have found ourselves. Whether even if it was rent, people need houses to stay, and so the landlords can dictate and say, this is how much I'm giving out my place and so on. So that's what we have seen. But at some point, all of that has to slow down. There's also a room for consumer protection. And even though I've seen that some people have criticized the Federal Consumer Protection Commission and Competitions Commission, there's room for them. In the United States, where I did the research, in the United States, almost every state has a law protecting consumers, from arbitrary increases in prices of food, of drugs, of clothing, of building materials, and what have you, especially in periods of crisis such as where we are. Equally in the United Kingdom, that's for that. So now, part of the things Nigerians must now understand is this. We're transiting, this is a sort of transition into the kind of modern economy that we're aspiring to. It's a painful transition. A lot could still be done to ameliorate the pains. The government is running around trying to give food to people. There's even cash disbursement, even though I personally prefer that we could use monies to incentivize our agriculture, expand agricultural production, take on more of our arable land, which we, according to numbers, we're doing only 35% of that. We can move that to 60, 65%, so that we can fully incentivize agriculture, and government can embark on a food program as they do in the United States. So all of that is in play right now. But also Nigerians must understand this is now the time for you to properly assess what you're doing. I gave an example. A Nigerian travels to the UK. From Heathrow, you take a black cab to wherever you are going. It takes £100 from you. You have just spent maybe 200,000 naira just taking a taxi from one place to the other. You will never see a proper Nigerian who lives in London do that. He will go down to walk a bit and go to where the tube is, and for £5 he will get to the same place, even maybe sometimes even ahead of you if there's traffic. So now is the time for us to actually analyze our spending properly, focus on what's essential. I mean, the same Nigeria, we spend a lot of money every weekend throwing parties, even.
Well,
I mean,
Dr. Fasher, there are those who would say to you,
so it's a time to adjust as well. Yeah.
There are those who will say to you straight up that I saw a video by a young lady in Kenya who says, look, talking about budgeting, that we should prioritize essential over non-essential. There are those who would say that if we look at the 2024 budget, there are quite a number of non-essentials that maybe we should cut. And so someone is probably telling you right now, let the government start with their own austerity measures. Please don't respond to that one yet. Don't respond to that one yet. I'm coming back to you, Dr. Ashibogu.
No. It's good to respond to that before you forget and, you know, things go over that, because it's a very important statement you made.
Okay.
You know, so, yeah, it's a very important statement you made, you know. And I must say to you that, indeed, the government has been fairly frugal. We can do more. Honestly, we can. The challenges we met on ground, it was clear at the moment there were no illusions as to whether there was money or not. There was no money to spend. Of course, you know, some of those items made it into the budget because also of the process of preparing the budget. The budget comes from different angles and so on. We're still in a sort of envelope system where people say, okay, take this allocation, what do you want to do with it? All of that needs to change. But I say that this government, I mean, this morning I was looking at even this issue of private jet that they said, you know, they wanted to buy, you know. But the point was that from the report I saw in Premium Times, the government is pricing, I don't know which of the agencies, they're pricing a second-hand private jet somewhere in Switzerland, you know. So, I mean, so we're not under any illusion that there's no money to spread and around like that. It's going to be a gradual process. And of course, the feedback from the public is also very important. We're a cautious government, a government of accountants and auditors that keep saying, you know, I'm from the president down and all of that. So we've actually, when last did you see all those travel? The government even, the president cut down by 60% his entourage. The vice president travels with only 5 people.
Well, the examples are there, Dr. Fasher, there is no doubt.
So we're going to actually do better on that.
Absolutely. The examples are there, but you know, perception is one thing that also has to be managed. Dr. Fasher.
Yeah.
Dr. Ashibogu, I know we have very, very little time to go, but I want you to address 2 things for me. Number one, Dr. Leke Older, you may have seen that research, who came up with an idea that we should have economic blocks in Nigeria. Southwest should have a Southwest economic bloc, Northwest should have a North. And he dissipated, okay, this is the strength of this region, that is the strength of that region. It would seem like maybe 10, 15, even 20 years after, no one is even giving much thought to it.
I think the thought has been given to it. The problem is, how do we sustain and implement these things? I think there's so much dependence at the national level. Nobody's asking what is happening at local governments or state levels.
Well, we are asking.
You know, because the question is why I'm saying this is that a lot of states, I think all states, if I recall, apart from the newer states that were created in 1993, they all have industrial layouts. In Lagos, some of them have been converted to churches. Those big factories are churches today. Get to Oregon Road, it's a clear example. So when you talk about hubs, economic blocks, the question is, do you create the adequate incentive? You're looking at multiple taxations, you're looking at different levies, you're looking at different... The moment you put up a signage, it's like the whole world comes at you. So the thing is, if you are actually honest about these things and you are keen about it, you look at subnationals, you look at states and local governments, how willing are they to encourage the location of industrial layouts that would actually yield positive outcomes? Because we've seen this, people try to set up factories, you have government officials who are trying to extort from them, you have...
Perhaps that's one of the challenges of ease of doing business, but I'd like you to speak in the next few seconds to what your own submission would be about how people can live with this cost of living crisis. What are the adjustments that you would propose? Dr. Fasha and Dr. Adeoye, they have made their own proposition.
Well, sadly, the adjustment now seems to be unfathomable. Let me just put it that way, because you don't. How do you adjust from trying to buy tomato, 3 pieces of tomato for 5,000 naira to it's just out of the question. The thing is, we need to look at the enabling environment for us to get out of this. One, insecurity has accounted largely for it. We need to deal with that. If you deal with that, you won't be talking to households. People are willing to go to the farm. They can't go to the farm. I know of a community somewhere in the north. I had to interface with some women who have to go pay the village heads. Village heads have to go pay the bandits so they can have access to their products in the farm, then coming out. So those costs will be built to the products. So the thing is, it's just very simple. You deal with issues of insecurity, then you also deal with the issues of capacity. So if you don't have that in place, just forget about it.
Dr. Monday Ashibagu, public policy analyst, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Dr. Gbenga Adeoye is a chartered accountant and lawyer. Thank you for your time. Truly appreciate your time. As well as Dr. Tope Fashua, special advisor on economic affairs in the office of the Vice President. Thank you so much for your time and your perspectives this morning. All right, so we're back right after now to take on our next issue. To stay with us.
Businessman Ugo Nwoke at a lavish event.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste. We are passionate about two things in Nigeria. The first is football. The second is our rice. And nobody celebrates like a Nigerian. So, for every goal scored, every mark made, you can be sure to always come back home to rice. Celebrate with Nigerian Premium Big Bull Rice, homegrown just like you. Big Bull Rice, tasty rice, nourished you.
The Federal Ministry of Works announces the first session of the stakeholders' engagement on the proposed alignment for the construction of Section 3A in Cross River State, Section 3B and 4 in Akwa Ibom State of Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, which have a total of 145 kilometers passing through Cross River and Akwa Ibom State, as well as the design of the Cross River 92-kilometer segment of the Calabar Southeast North Central Abuja Superhighway by African Trans-Sahara Highway. The event will hold on Saturday, 29th June at Ibom Hall, IBB Avenue, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, and Sunday, 30th June 2024 at Transcorp Hotel, Calabar, Cross River State. Time, 12 noon each day. Invited guests include governors of concerned states, Senate and Federal House of Representative Committee on Works, honorable ministers of line ministries, royal fathers and technocrats, Nigerian Communications Commission and major telecommunication service providers, other relevant stakeholders, and the media. We count on your cooperation in the renewed hope agenda of enhancing national connectivity and transportation flexibility for economic development. Yakubu Adam Kopermata, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Works, announcer.
Alright, no problem. Okay, bye.
Today, bad man. Let me call phone call now. Help my ministry. You know, say me be your main guy. Afa now or spot me data now.
Babatunde, my G from under the mother. You know, say me first ask since last week. Huh?
What are you guys going to give me first?
Can I have all of my beverages?
Guy, Afa, come now. Make I spoil you with cinema tickets.
You can have my lucky underwear.
Guys, just get on Glow Campus Booster. Enjoy 100% data bonus on campus with Glow Campus Booster. Dial star 312 hash and flex on campus non-stop.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data.
Glow Unlimited.
The Duchess International Hospital caters to every aspect of the family's health needs. A one-stop shop for maternity and child health services, emergency medicine and critical care, medical and surgical subspecialties, dental and eye care, and a range of other subspecialties and services, all available at a single location right here in the heart of Ikeja. And it really doesn't matter if you're paying out of pocket using your HMO or private insurance. We focus completely on providing that world-class affordable healthcare for all the family at all times.
Imagine lovely meals you can cook with these ingredients. You spend heavily, but no guarantee of a tasty meal. Not making a right choice of seasoning cube can ruin your meal, money, and confidence. For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose Gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. 1 cube, endless possibilities.
The Honorable Minister, Federal Capital Territory, His Excellency Barrister Ezenwo Yesenwike, CON, and the Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Maria Mahmoud, heartily invites FCT residents to groundbreaking ceremonies and flag-off of the following projects in the FCT. Mabushi Bus Terminal, Monday, July 1, 2024, 11 a.m. at Mabushi. Kubo Bus Terminal, Tuesday, July 2, 11 a.m. at Kubo. Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal Complex, IQB Abuja, Wednesday, July 3, 11 a.m. and Kwaitayebu Road in Kwali Area Council, Thursday, July 4, 2024, 11 a.m. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio, CON, Senate President, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, CON, Speaker House of Representatives, and Chief Justice of the Federation, Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariola, GCON, FCT Administration, driving Mr. President's renewed hope agenda.
Thank you for staying with us. When you hear Cross River State, what comes to your mind first? Did I hear? I'm not sure I heard you say tourism, but whether if that is something or something else, I guess we'll hear from our guest this morning to let us in on developments in Cross River State. Honorable Erasmus Ekpan joins us this morning. He is the River State Commissioner for Information.
Cross River State, yeah, thank you.
Cross River State,
Cross
River State Commissioner for Information.
Yeah.
I hope that confusion is not very rampant.
Some are rampant, but we stand as Think Cross River State. It's Cross River State, not Rivers. But it's rampant to some extent. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we prefer that Cross River State.
Well, it is Cross River State.
Not Rivers State.
It is Cross River State. So, the question that I asked the viewer first, what is the USP? What would you say is the unique selling proposition for Cross River State?
Cross River State for now, and like we all know, first Calabar being first capital of Cross River State, basically tourism. Our unique nature, simplicity, hospitable, and it's tourism, basically tourism. So we keep it clean, neat, beautiful for tourism to thrive, and many other
So, well, this administration is been in office for how long now, just to be clear?
Just about a year, about a month, a year, thereabout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there are those who will be wondering, what has it been like? So far, how far?
Yeah, the administration so far now has, a total, outlook change for Calabar and Cross River State. The administration led by Senator Prince, Bassey Ededoto actually came to, consolidate on the, gains of his previous administrations, not actually bringing out what's new, because when we actually abandon and let go of some infrastructures laid from the past administrations, it means that we're wasting our taxpayers' money. So he's actually, he actually came to fix Cross River State, get it back to, the glory, Cross River State as one of the best tourist places, very neat place, and, very, calm place, even when it comes to, security and all that. So a lot of overhauling going on. Most of the infrastructures, buildings, mostly the ministries and all that were actually built far, or not before 20-something, about 20 years ago, thereabout. So the administration of Senator Prince Bassey actually came to, repair, renovate, and, construct new, edifice. Our government houses, as I speak at the moment, His Excellency is actually, actually using a makeshift office. He has not moved to the real governor's office yet. Some kind of renovations going on. Government lodges too, and then some ministries are actually doing renovations. The State Library, we are renovating the State Library. It was, down and out for a very long time. For more than 10 years, the library was not functioning. It was just an edifice, it just gone rotten. But we're actually putting it back to that. The stadium, you remember that most of the Super Eagles matches were played in Calabar, in the stadium then, but now somehow it goes to Akwa Ibom, Uyo, stadium. So we're trying to actually get all back. And then the roads were not too in a good shape. We had a lot of, bad roads, potholes. After a while, these roads actually need maintenance. So actually that's what we're doing. We're actually constructing new road and maintaining the old one. Then we had issues of street lights, the basic street lights we know about. Now what is almost in vogue is the solar lights, where by the grace of God, not only in Calabar, we had put total lights so that even at the midnight or even at the night, you can actually see everywhere is very, very bright. And then we had this destruction during the NSAS, our traffic, traffic lights, our bus stops. We have fixed all bus stops, so it's very, very unique now that actually commuters would actually, disembark from a bus stop, and then the traffic lights were not working anymore for almost 4 years thereabout. That is perfect now, but not just in Calabar, even in the central axis of the Cross River State, and then, the north. And we have the CIC International Convention Center, where, if you recall very well, some years back, we hosted Miss Africa during the Miss Africa thereabout. A lot of NIFED's activities were always, a very big hall that can actually take up to 5,000 to 10,000 persons and all that. That was totally charted, destroyed, a lot of things charted away. The administration of Senator Prince Bassey actually fixed that up now. So most of our meetings, we hold them there now. It's back to life. A lot of other edifices that were totally, down and out, we actually, brought them back. And the roads right now, as I speak to you, we are even resurfacing some other areas like the Calabar Highway, which is supposed to be the highway of a federal road going out. We're actually resurfacing those roads. Even the axis of Calabar-Itu Road, where, for Cross River State, we almost had a one-way in, apart from the water, the water site is totally in a bad shape. Even as I speak at the moment, CEMAC or something is the construction firm, but the state thought it wise to actually, do some, measures to make the road a bit, motorable in other ways, even compensating, people that their places will be destroyed and all that. So we're actually trying to, going back even to the ranch, we're working on the ranch, work is ongoing. The ranch is actually, it's good, it's working, but we have a company that's actually handling the dairy farms. We're trying to fix everywhere, even the cargo airport. He is just trying to get everything to work. You understand? So that we actually open doors for open doors for investors to thrive, and investors will not actually come to a place that is not, okay or looking good, but we have actually made Calabar, Metropolis, Cross River State, ready for business to thrive, and a lot of good things happening. Like, if you're aware, we'd done like 3 summits. Coming in, we saw that Cross River State was not a productive state. We're actually dependent on the fact allocation, and for Cross River State, we're about the 3rd lowest. So we actually had nothing after losing 76 oil wells. So we actually had to, cry out to investors to actually tell them we are good, we are open for business, we are ready to go. And then we had this, an economic summit, healed some results, some still in the pipeline. We had some agreement, MOU signs and all that. And then we didn't stop at that. We had an energy summit too. Foreign investors came in. And then after that, His Excellency had a roundtable, a roundtable summit with ambassadors of European ambassadors and all that, which, by the grace of God, it actually yielded a huge result where we just some few weeks back, His Excellency was my principal was in Egypt to sign a $3.5 million deal for Afrimex from Afrimex Bank and all that for the deep sea port and other projects that will come up. So I think. Cross River State, it's bright. Cross River State is open for business. We have the slogan, Think Cross River. About us, we love ourselves, and we're good to go. And don't forget, His Excellency's mantra is the people's first. So we're actually embarking on this project that will touch the people's lives, where you have not just the rich, the commoner, the middle, the roads are good. Street lights, everybody go through all that. So we're actually embarking on this project that will touch the people, the common people.
Now, already, someone is quite excited about the fact that you mentioned the Calabar to Calabar road right now, but it's a little disturbing, isn't it? That's about the only road that major road that goes into the city.
Yeah, it's honestly, I tell you, it's quite disturbing. And for me personally, it's more quite disturbing for me because I applied that road. It was cleared by His Excellency almost every 2 weeks. My family lives in River State, Port Harcourt till today, because I served there and I started my life there before the then I'm a governor, Senator Ben Ayadi, got me into politics back in Calabar. So it's quite disturbing for me because it's always you always have to do the wear and tear of you keep some very huge amount of money for your car once you reach Port Harcourt and once you go back, and it's really bad. And we have cried to the government. Thank God for Mr. President at the moment where the Lagos-Calabar coastal route is being approved and work has started. And by the grace of God, the Minister for Works will be in Calabar tomorrow for a town hall meeting with chiefs and all that for us to address that issue. And I think that would be faster because when the Senate President, His Excellency Godswill Akpabio, came to Cross River State, he actually promised us that in less than 2 weeks for the South-South stakeholders meeting, that route, they will start the coastal road in phases, not just starting only from the Lagos axis. And as I speak with you, that is why the Minister for Works is actually going to start. Otherwise, that road is totally down on that. Sometimes you spend 5 hours, you spend 10 hours, and we always have this story of the terrain is very bad, it's a waterlogged area, they keep, reconstructing. In short, most times you spend like 4 or 5 hours on that road, and it's really, really bad. So a lot of people have now, started using the waterways. So you can imagine coming to Cross River State, to some extent, you would actually go through Oron to travel to Cross River State, where a lot is happening in Cross River State right now. You understand? So it's really bad. And I thank God that the government is actually looking into it.
Now, talking about development in Cross River State, one of the major issues you've mentioned is that of infrastructure. And there are those who would actually applaud the fact that the government is doing something about that. But then you also raise the issue of IGR being, disturbingly dismal. What are the potential in Cross River State that you are inviting investors to come and help explore? Because when investors come, they till all the ground and everything, it's the state that still enjoys from it.
Well, for us, Cross River State, we have about 1.8 hectares of arable land. Most of these investors are actually looking into agriculture. And with that, for us to get prepared, to receive these investors, we have actually done a soil testing, soil mapping survey, and that has been concluded, well done. So for us to actually know, the kind of crops, that tribes wear. And then outside that, we have actually the farm roads. We have a lot of plantations, oil palm plantations. You're aware that many years back, a seedling was actually pulled out from Calabar to Malaysia, where they actually do well with that now. So we have a lot of, we have the urban plantations, the Akampa, plantations, even in the Boki axis and all that. And then we're trying to actually bring them in to, look at the areas where so we are prepared ourselves. Like most of our farm routes have been constructed and are, working. And then basically it's just about agriculture. Apart from the fact that we are actually, our IGR so far with the new team on board has done very well by some level of increase in our IGR. We're looking at, even in the energy sector also, we are also trying to see how they can actually come into, build 1 or 2 plants. We are trying to look at the special agro-processing zone. We had some benefits. Cross Rivers looked at during the African Development Bank, where about $540 million or thereabout was actually, Cross Rivers was lucky to be part of those, states to benefit from that.
So how's that going?
Yeah, it's actually, there's one thing with the MOUs, the agreements and all that. There's another thing with the implementation, which actually will take some time, but we're good to go. We are very okay. So we're prepared ourselves to actually receive this inspection. Like I said, mostly on the agricultural side, we have done so much. We have commenced a lot of, we've collaborated with the Nigerian Institute of Oil Palm Research.
Just a second, on the SAPZ that you mentioned, I'm curious because I'm actually personally very interested in that particular project because it will seriously galvanize our agricultural capacity exponentially.
Definitely.
So what I know is that the project is government-enabled, private sector-driven.
Yeah.
What's the plan in Cross River State?
Yeah, for now we are done like 13,000 hectares of land cleared and prepared. His Excellency for 29th of May, one of the flagships was doing a 2,000 hectares somewhere in Udupani and all that. Like I told you initially, we're just so prepared waiting to receive that because we didn't want to guess to know if pineapple or cocoa thrive here. So we're done a soil test, soil mapping, concluded and all that. So we're actually waiting for when, the businesses of the day, the fund starts thriving in there, we'll actually know where we apply it. So we have those investors, people from those zones actually coming to inspect to see that yes, we're really the soils are fertile, we're prepared. We actually know that we're going to go through a lot. We're going to do a lot of the value chain of maize, cassava, rice, even the cow fodder or something, and all that. So all we needed to do was just to keep a serene environment, prepare the environment, very conducive environment for investors to thrive. And like I told you, we've flagged up, we've cleared, we are doing a lot of land preparations, and clearing, awaiting, such deals to come. And I believe by the grace of God, once 1 or 2, 3 of those deals enter, Cross River State will boom. Okay. And besides that, we're thriving, we're trying. His Excellency is poised to actually look at some of our boundary issues too. When the National Boundary Commission visited, we actually appealed to them to revisit the issues of our oil well because we can't be Cross River and we are totally out of 76 oil wells.
No, the cash cow, so to speak, for Cross River State right now, as you said earlier, is tourism.
Yeah, tourism.
Tourism would naturally go with the culture of the people. How is that going? How are the people carried along in that particular one? Because when people come, it's the people that they're coming. When people come from outside of Cross River State, it's the people of Cross River State that they're going to interface with.
Yeah, for tourism, we just, at least our biggest space for tourism is the Carnival Calabar, which is about the biggest street party in Africa, I'll say so. And that, to some extent, because of the COVID-19 and many other NSAS issues and all that, was played down, previously. But for now, we work it up. His Excellency, Senator Prince Basedodo, a very thorough, man, knows how much the state benefits or gains from, terrorism issues. In less than 5-6 months, he came on board. I don't know if you visited Calabar last Christmas for, tourism, for the big carnival. It was well organized. I mean, that was just, 6 months to organize. But as I speak with you today, you understand, about 2-3 months ago, we have already, released a team for this year's carnival, which is shared prosperity. And, within this period, the people are so excited. They are happy. It's a free-for-all 30 days. Of full activities where hotels try. People, most times, people actually sell out their houses or rent their houses out. Businesses thrive. All these small-scale businesses will sell so much and all that. It adds so much to the economy of, Cross River State. So the people actually feel that impulse very well. And even at the moment now, we're even still creating, His Excellency, we're building more roads, inner roads, because for the carnival route of 12 kilometers that go around the Calabar Metro, the Calabar, Marian Road to highway and all that. We're actually building extra roads. Now, we're well prepared for this season, which, by the grace of God, you are invited. We are now building inner roads that would actually, because some wouldn't want you to be stranded because those roads are blocked. So we're bringing inner roads where you can actually still access your, your areas within the end and beginning of, Calabar. So I think it adds a lot to the people because a lot of gains are made. The popularity, people are excited. Even if you, the last year's was just too much a bomb, and it was rated one of the best. And so you can imagine now we've started our preparations for this.
One of the things that is in jeopardy when such events happen is what some might, the environment is in a way at risk because people are coming from external cultures and bringing theirs in. They may not know the way of life of the people that they are coming to meet, so to speak. So in terms of environmental sustainability, what's the plan? What's the current situation? I'm glad you are an environmentalist.
Yeah.
And I know that environmentalists are very fanatical about the environment.
No. For us, as I speak right now, Calabar itself is one of the cleanest towns in Nigeria. We have a very proactive commissioner for environment who, if I just want to go a bit broad, started by desilting, picking up the refuse. We actually look for refuse now to carry in Cross River State. Yeah, those dump sites you see refuse by the road. We actually look for, because we don't see, they are very, very proactive. And besides that, we have a team of environmental, sanitation workers that are actually very ready. From the last band that takes off during the carnival, they start sweeping, rearranging, the road. They sweep from the last band. You see them sweeping. They sweep the whole road. We sweep our roads every day. A lot of trees have been pruned, trimmed and all that. So we know how important that means to us. The water sanitation, a lot of other aspects that has to do with visitors coming in, and the environmental aspect. We try our best to ensure that, we had actually kept ad hoc staffs waiting to, get everywhere clean and done with after the, carnival, process.
Okay. How about security? At the end of it all, investors coming, tourists coming to town, and everything, the infrastructure erected. At the end of it all, the sustainability of those things is based on security, both from the people and from the government. What are the threats and what are the plans?
I tell you the truth. We really don't have much or no security issues in Cross River State. Like I told you earlier on, we had a very high population of visitors that came into Cross River State. There was no issue or case of any robbery or kidnap during the kidnap. We are top notch when it comes to security. His Excellency had, first of all, in his wisdom, appointed retired major generals or AIGs to mount the state security advisors. So, they are very technical and that is their field. So we had employed some, gadgets where would actually, show us where we have very serious crime hotspots. You understand? We can actually detail a lot of things. You know, security issues are not meant to really tell you the secrets for criminals to thrive from your secrets. But as I speak with you, we are fine from every other thing. We have increased our checkpoints. We have a very good relationship with the security operatives. As I speak with you, we're actually trying to even renovate some of their edifices, where the DSS, the police, prisons, even the army, we are trying to, the state government is actually trying to renovate them, making them happy. Because most times when our security operatives are not too happy with the environment or where they are, even to actually go out to disseminate their work and all that will be very difficult for them. So for security, I think we're doing very well, security wise. And I have not really, for a while now, I've not really heard of any case of, kidnap, robbery and all that. And besides that, we have even gone ahead to chase these criminals to their hoods, because we actually, we have actually made a geo-mapping of the areas where we actually know, we have done some research to see where these crime hotspots are, the areas. We have cordoned those areas, the seas are cordons, and then we are actually even going to, some months back, we recovered some gun racketing, business deal somewhere in a local government called Akampa. They were arrested, and I think they were charged to court. And then some 3 weeks ago, we actually, did the same. We got an information somewhere in Abi local government where we had, we're actually chasing them now to where they are so that they actually totally go out. So we're doing a very great job when it comes to security.
I'm hoping that is satisfactory for the people.
Yeah, very, very well. They're excited.
Well, Victor Owo is saying on X, says, our first 4 years of marriage, his own marriage, we spent all our Christmas holidays in Calabar. I just put my family in my car and we go from Eket in the time of Governor Duke. We want that back. We want to come far from Eket this time. Please inform the Honorable Commissioner. We are hereby informed.
Victor, you're welcome. I'm inviting you to Calabar this Xmas.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank
Honorable so Erasmus Ekpang, Cross River State Commissioner for Information. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. You got the Cross River well this time.
Yeah. So, we are back right after this break with another conversation that you will find equally exciting. Stay with us.
On this remarkable milestone, we extend our deepest gratitude to the Nigerian Army for shaping us into fearless defenders of our nation. The 161st anniversary reminds us of our shared responsibility to safeguard our country.
To the Nigerian Army, an embodiment of valor and patriotism, we commend your unwavering dedication to our great nation. On this momentous occasion, we celebrate 161 years of selfless service and sacrifice. Here is to the indomitable spirit of the Nigerian Army.
As soldiers of the Nigerian Army, we stand united in celebrating 161 years of professionalism, dedication, and sacrifice. We are proud to be part of this noble institution.
I'll call you on normal now, okay?
Gotta go now.
Okay, why don't you hang up?
No, you hang up.
You don't also got you need to hang up now.
No, I dare you to hang up.
You want me to hang up?
You really need to hang up now.
No, you hang up, you hang up.
No, you hang up. I have to go.
You really want me to hang up?
Let's switch to a video call so I can see your face.
It's fine.
Now you can hang up. Hang up, Joe.
Make your nights memorable with Glow Night Data Bundle. Dial *312# to start.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data.
Glow Unlimited.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Give your child Bonvita. It contains essential essential vitamins and minerals that support mental and physical vitality. Bonvita. Prepare them to win every day.
Who's your guy? See how sweet they like beans and rice. People, I will never leave your side. I will never ever. I dedicate my time forever, time to you, my people. Even if the road is rough, I know mine. 'Cause together we shall stand.
Make we all come out on election day and vote Olumide Osaigbavo Akpata, Una guy, as governor of Edo State. He ready to change our story and bring better life for we and our Pikin them. Vote Labour Party, the party for Papa, Mama and Pikin. Make we vote well, oh. Oludi, confirm. Now you be our guy. Labour Party, forward ever.
Olumide Akpata. Iretemi, Komani, Konyami. Iretemi, Komani, Konyami.
Wherever you go, Teramashe. Whatever you do, Teramashe. Yo, your time done they gone. Yo, your beats done they done. You think say God in order for your side, and you want to find another.
Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ló wà. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ló wà.
Ìrètí mi kò máa ní kọjá mi o.
Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ló wà. Edis, congratulations. Edis, Iretemi, Komani, Konyami. Iretemi, Komani, Konyami.
Wherever you go, Teramashe. Whatever you do, Teramashe. Your time done they gone. Yo, your beats done they done. You think say God in order for your side, and you want to find another way to prosper. You think say God in order just get your time.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us. That's our next conversation, by the way. Hotel Managers Conference Africa. Hotel managers are gathering for you. Now, the question you are probably asking yourself is, are they going to bring down the costs or increase it? Don't ask me. Ask my guest this morning. Olubenga Sunday is a convener of Hotel Managers Conference Africa. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
We also have with us here Kehinde Daniel, CEO, Court Secretary. Thank you for your time. As well as Adedayo Adesuba, who is the Vice President, Association of Tourism and Hospitality Consultants in Nigeria. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let me begin with you. What's this Hotel Managers Conference Africa about? To increase costs?
Not at all, far from it.
Okay, just say.
The vision was conceived 2016, and what drive the vision was the gap we noticed between international brands and local brands across Africa within hospitality space. We found out that with what I see practically as a practitioner, I found out that the way they do their things in branded hotels, it's quite different from what we do locally in terms of standard operations, staffing, even the salaries and all that. You see a whole lot of gap. And I'm asking myself, are we going to leave this gap like this? We can't have all the branded hotels everywhere. We can't have, because we know the cost of a branded hotel. So the gap is so wide that I began to think, what do we need to do as a practitioner to at least keep the gap in a very short range? I'm asking myself, the same person that is working in XYC hotels, a local brand, that same person is not that productive. Take him to a branded hotels, international chains hotel. He's behaving differently from the way he's behaving in the local brand. You tell him to stand like this now in a local brand, he will tell you reason why he cannot stand. But take him to a branded hotel. So there's a whole lot. Maintenance, the facility management, the staffing, the customer service, the product of their services, the procedures and all that. So I saw that gap and I was like, no, let's have a conference yearly that will put hotel managers together. And here I'm talking about hotel owners, hotel general managers, hotel supervisors, leaders within the space, the consultants, even to the restaurants, to the bar, to the lounges, within hospitality space. Let's come together once in a year and have the deliberations on how we can at least bridge the gap between the branded hotels and the local brands, because we are in the same market.
Well, is it about branded hotels for you as well, Mr. Daniel? Because I'm sure that he's miffed about that one.
For me, the Hotel Managers Conference, from day one when I heard about it, I jumped on the wagon and I said, whatever you need. Again, the Hotel Managers Conference is a platform for not just hotels, but also for people in the hospitality space. There are different areas that you can look into in terms of, there's industrial catering, there's marine, aviation, but we're all in the hospitality space. Moreover, when you look at a hotel, there's certain things that the hotel has that all of these other sectors have within the hospitality space. So for me, I'm like, this is fantastic. And we learn from one another. So I'm here to give Gbenga my all in all.
Well, Mr. Adeshuga, some will wonder, just as he said, it's the same Nigerian managers that work in the international brands, that work in the local brands. So can we really bridge the gap?
Well, surely we can bridge the gap, or the gaps, because it primarily has to do with the mentality which we can adjust. It's about a paradigm shift. And that paradigm shift is very, very possible if you, first and foremost, we have an understanding of the challenges that we have, because primarily it's philosophical. And of course, it's also evolutionary. We've really not evolved in terms of our culture. So it being a culture thing, because hospitality practice is not, contemporary hospitality practice is really not African. It wasn't designed by us. So when we're looking at it from a cultural perspective, we can definitely begin to evolve in our culture for us to be able to say, okay, we can meet those standards and establish them in the mentalities of our practitioners.
Would you say that all practitioners are agreed on that? Because there are some of them who will be wondering, what difference is it going to make?
Well, most certainly they don't all agree. But what we're discovering through, platforms like HMC, is that when we give them the holistic, give them a perspective and make it more clear, they want to migrate from where they are to where they're supposed to be. Because the truth is that now it touches their pockets. And when it becomes a pocket profitable thing, and they see that if you run your hotel looking at these standards and looking at the primary parameters, you're going to make XYZ profit above that which you'll be making if you run it in another way. So the economy is really beginning to get to them for them to begin to concede in doing it properly.
So, Mr. Sunday, this started quite some time ago, and we're here today. What are the things that you would point out as the achievements or the revelations? In what ways would you say people's eyes have been opened, or even your own eyes have been opened to the realities?
Thank you very much. One of the things I've noticed over the years, now, initially before we started, we found out that we don't really have much awareness when it comes to training and human capital development. We have people that they don't even understand what it means to be hotel managers. You go to one hotel, you are asking, are you the manager? Because it's actually putting on a bathroom slippers. While on duty, it's not properly dressed, not properly shaved. So we now have that, over the years, we now have that awareness that people are beginning to take training serious. People are beginning to take human capital development serious. People are beginning to understand the need to come together once in a year as we do Hotel Managers Conference. And what we did, we started from the South. We held the first one, the first 3 editions in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, and the 4th edition was held in River State. So we moved to the Southeast, Owerri, and that was the last edition that recorded 274 hotel managers from 24 states in Nigeria, 5 countries in the world. So it's been incredible. We have a WhatsApp group we have to create as a family, Hotel Managers Conference Africa. And today we are sold out. We have to create extension because we have people joining us from Kenya, from Uganda, from Botswana, Tanzania, Cameroon, and all that, all over African countries. So it's been a movement that we need to say, no, we can't do it the way we used to do it. That people will check into our hotels and we don't take it serious from their arrival to the check-in to when they are staying with us to the checking out. So we begin to now, there's this awareness, and we love all our leaders, all our associations. They've been with us. Like, let's do this. Let's fix our industry. Nobody else will fix this industry for us. You can imagine you paying about 60,000 naira to check into a hotel, but you get in there, there's no towel. So there's no intentionality when it comes to running of hotels. And hotel, it's about service. So it's a whole lot. So what we have done so far, we have that awareness. Like, no, it can be business as usual if we need to remain in business.
Okay. Well, madam, for you, what stands out? Because people have perspectives, and they own their perspectives. In all of this conversation, what stands out the most for you? Yes, the food is important. Oh, God, it is very important. A number of people will remember that they had to buy a plate of Indomie for like 2,000 naira. What stands out for you, madam?
Sometimes okay. I'm going to be a bit brutally honest. What stands out for me, no matter what you do, you mention food, you need to look at the safety of that food that you are eating. You need to look at the health and safety of the environment in which you are in. Now, if you understand those standards, which are global, you will be matching the international brands. And what HMC is all about is this standard that, okay, there's training, there's networking, there's certifications, and those sort of things. That's the area that really appeals to me. And I've spoken to Binga about it, that, look, we need to push these things. You walk into a hotel, unbranded hotel, and the way you're being served, you're looking at the tablecloth, and you can tell that there are issues here. Or you walk into a room and it smells musty. It's like they're not opening the rooms. They're not cleaning the rooms properly. Whether or not there's a guest in the room, you have to clean the rooms. How do you clean the rooms? What do you use? What kind of agents do you use? It's not just I pick something off. Most of the time when you go to these places, you'll be smelling, you smell perfume, or the soaps are perfumed. If the room is clean, you don't need it. So these are the kind of things that stand out for me.
Okay. Well, Mr. Disuba, before we go into the details of the conference, upgrading is costly.
Most definitely.
Now, you are a practitioner.
Yeah.
It might be easier for someone in Port Harcourt or Lagos or maybe Abuja, and maybe a handful of states here and there, to upgrade, even though it will be costly. But other states in the country, I'm not sure. So in terms of the cost, what would you say the hotel manager needs to benchmark against when they are considering that? Upgrading to the level of the vision that Mr. Sunday here has can be quite costly.
There's some things that we want to always educate about the hotel, which doesn't necessarily, result in high cost and things like that. The simple things, primarily the training of the staff, because there's a need for brand integrity. If you're offering a room, there's certain principles that govern what kind of room it is. And you don't need to spend so much, in having a clean room. A clean room, like she said, the linen, the bed sheet is clean, the towels are clean. You don't need so much money to maintain, a good environment, a clean environment. Because first and foremost, it has to do with the cleanliness. The five senses have to be, involved in the process. Okay. It has to be clean, and it has to be, a good product that you're paying for.
I guess it's a long conversation. Yeah. This is hopefully part of what you'll be talking about at the conference. Yes. So give us the details of the conference, Mr. Venue, date, time, and all of that.
So, interestingly, this is our first time in Lagos.
Oh.
We are doing 6th edition in Lagos. We'll be using Lagos Continental in Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. We'll be using the African Grand Ballroom, the biggest hall within Lagos Continental. Lagos Continental is the tallest hotel building in West Africa. They have 23 floors. And the venue is right there in the 3rd floor. The theme for this year's conference is innovative strategies. We are nurturing resilience and excellence in guest experience in African hospitality. And we have our speakers from all over. We have speakers from Kenya. We have speakers within
These are your speakers on the screen.
We have our guest speakers. We have
These are your speakers on the screen.
We have Ka Ala, the keynote speaker. We have Bayo of Waka now. We have Femi Falibita, is the regional chairman of the IOH, and we have a couple of them. We have Dr. Michael Pinda of GS Signature Hotels in Port Harcourt. And I will be speaking to anyway.
Okay.
We have Justina Hovat, It's our curators and all that. So we have a whole lot of people coming. And our daddy here...
is it a paid event?
Yes, a paid event.
Okay.
It's a paid event.
So how much am I... Okay, I can see the costs are already on the screen for people to be able to... What are the benefits? What am I going to get for paying so much?
Yes, it's going to be a 5-star catering. We are going to be having food, number one, which is very important, tea break, lunch. And we have an award night. We have Hotel Managers Award. And the night is going to be on Sunday, July 14. And we have a buffet dinner for that. And we all know the cost of a 5-star catering. Then we have the conference materials. All our discussions throughout the conference will be packaged together for each participant. And we have certificate that is recognized internationally that as a participant, certificate of training of Hotel Managers Conference Africa. And we will a whole lot of networking is there. We have exhibitions. You have a lot of business deals within the conference because we have exhibitors coming. Okay. So we have our sponsors and all that.
Okay. So it's a 2-day event?
Yes, 2 days.
When then? What days?
July 13 and 14.
That's about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks time.
Interesting. Okay, training, workshop, panel discussion, B2B networking. Who are the people that can attend?
Okay, this very conference is for hotel owners, those that are really involved in managing their hotels, hotel consultants, hotel GMs, general managers, the supervisor. Then we have people that are actually interested in the sector. We have educationists coming in to see and all that. So, and this is not just about hotel, the restaurants, the club, the lounges, because we are all hospitality. We are a subsector of tourism. So, because everything we are discussing there is about service, it's about standard, it's about operations. So, all this chain, they need to be there. Those that run apartment too, they should be there. Those that run resorts, they should be there because we are all dealing with guests. And the theme for this year edition is innovative strategies, nurturing resilience and excellence in guest experience in African tourism.
Madam, what are you looking forward to in this conference?
Again, I'm looking at how people respond to the workshops that are being created for, that we're going to have, how they can, apart from what they do, how can I better myself as a person, how the hotel owners or the owners of these hotels, how they buy into this conference and the trainings, because as we speak, it's not that we don't have hospitality schools here, but when you're looking at trainings, it's continuous. A lot of people leave one industry and come into the hospitality industry without having any kind of training. Now, these are the sort of places you will get that kind of training to bring you to par.
Well, in 30 seconds, Mr. Adesugba, what would you be telling your fellow tourism and hospitality consultants right now about this conference?
Hospitality is trending. We are second-generation hospitality practitioners in Nigeria, and we are on our way out. For us, HMC is a legacy project. HMC defines where we've gotten to in hotel practice in Nigeria. And it also grants us the ability to see where we're going. So I'll be telling them that this is serious business. We want to make a statement. So we want all of them to have their hands on deck.
Absolutely. Adedayo Adesugba, Vice President, Association of Tourism and Hospitality Consultants in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Kehinde Daniel, CEO, Courts Catering. Appreciate your time. As well as Olugbenga Sunday, convener of Hotel Managers Conference Africa. Thank you for being here today. And good luck with the conference.
Thank you.
All right. We're back right after now for another interesting conversation. Please stay with us.
What am I looking for? Say my God, it don't mess me up. He giving me you, giving you me. Opposite key fella just so. Opposite key fella just me. My baby, you know say you got love for me. I do go. When I call your name, shakara for me. I'm gonna be your, you gonna be my Julie. I'm gonna be your, you gonna be my Julie. Give me a heart, I don't go run away. Show me your love, I don't go use you play. Carry me, go me, I go follow away. Follow you, oh. Me and you. Okwamona, keep my baby. Me and you. Okwamona, keep my baby. Opposite keep and just so. Opposite keep and me just me. My baby, you know say you got love for me. Hey, I do go. When I call your name, shakara for me. Hey, I'm gonna be your, you gonna be my Julie. I'm gonna be your, you gonna be my Julie. I'm gonna be your, you gonna be my Julie.
Well, thank you again for being with us. Our next conversation is what you saw on your screen, Miva Open University, a private online university in Nigeria established by ULesson in 2023. What's that all about, really? We have this conversation with the registrar, Miva Open University, Anyi Akwiti. He joins us along with Anyekeme Umo, Vice President Operations of Miva Open University. Both of them join us in Abuja. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, Ayo,
yeah.
for having us.
So let me begin with you, Mr. Anyi Akwiti. I hope I got that right. Exactly what is Miva about? Because there's also will be wondering, another open university?
All right, thank you so much for that question, Ayo. Miva Open University is the first privately owned open university to launch in Nigeria. We were licensed by the National Universities Commission in June 2023. We launched our first class in September 2023 as well, immediately after we obtained our license. Now, what drove us to do this, having been in the education space, primary and secondary, for over 5 years, we saw the challenges in tertiary education in Nigeria. I mean, we all know the statistics. 1.8 million people write JAMB, the JAMB UTME, every year, competing for fewer than 700,000 spaces. That means that there's 1 million Nigerians every year who attempt to proceed from secondary to tertiary, but do not get spaces. Now, the Nigerian university system has done a lot to solve this problem, but the limitations exist in the space requirements that we have in the 271 conventional universities. Now, imagine the compounding effect of 1 million people every year. And also imagine how long it will take for government or private operators to build
brick-and-mortar universities to absorb this pent-up demand for university education. That is the challenge we sought to solve, to provide accessible, affordable, and very high-quality university education that allows Nigerians anywhere they are located in the country to enroll and get that same quality of education that they would have gotten if they had gone to a fully residential university. Okay. And how has the market received us? In our first month after we launched, post-licensing, we had 31 applications in our first month. When we opened our first cohort in September, we launched with 525 students. This is 10 months after. We have over 2,700 students enrolled in Miva Open University out of 75,000 applications. So that is the volume of people who have come to us seeking a space. And how did the word go around? People who have come to our classes, who have learned through our system, have gone back. They've told friends, they've told family, they've told colleagues that this is a place where you can go that allows you to combine other pursuits with your education. So that is what we are about at Miva, to give that affordable and accessible tertiary education. Thank you, Ayo.
Interesting conversation so far. Well, let me ask the Vice President Operations, Ms. Umar. So we understand that, of course, as has been mentioned, the university is already licensed by the NUC, but then there is also the place of flexibility, which we understand is one of your hallmarks in your approach to university education. So how would you say that this has impacted students and their ability to study effectively, and maybe even the overall quality of your offerings?
Thank you, Ayo, for that question. And you are definitely spot on. Flexibility is a core tenet of what we offer at Miva. We have, as an ODL, students are able to learn at their own pace. They can take whatever number of courses they can handle each semester, and they're able to go at the program at the pace that works best for them. We have students in our student body who are content creators taking computer science. We have makeup artists studying business management, soccer players studying public policy and administration. So there's really that flexibility baked into the offering, in the sense that the way that the classes work, we provide pre-recorded video content on our learning management system, which every student gets access to. We also have live lessons and office hours, which are synchronous sessions that allow our learners come together with their classmates to meet with their professors. So while creating this flexibility, we're giving our learners high quality education. And of course, being an ODL licensed by the National Universities Commission, we adopt a blended learning model, which means that in addition to these online virtual offerings, we also have some physical offerings. One of our marquee ones being our master classes. We've had some incredible industry experts. These are leaders at the top of their field come and speak exclusively to our students, teaching them things that they wouldn't necessarily get from a school curriculum. We've had folks like Shola Akinlade, founder and CEO of Paystack. We've had the former permanent secretary of the Ministry of Education, Mr. David Adejo. Most recently, we had the former First Lady of Kebbi State, Dr. Zainab Bagudu, with us at a master class at Miva. And the registrar hinted at this already, but I'll talk a little bit more about an even more fundamental aspect of our flexibility, and that's financial flexibility. We are empathetic to the macroeconomic situation in this country. And so one of the things that we offer our students is what we call grandfathered pricing. So as soon as our students enroll, whatever tuition they pay in their first year, they pay the entirety of their program. We don't change the fees for those students. So whatever tuition you start paying at, that's the tuition you're going to pay for the entirety of your time at Miva. And that's how we really, really create a flexible, world-class, cost-conscious experience for our students, offering for the Nigerian economy at large, honestly.
Interesting. Well, I'll stick with you for a bit. By the way, you've used that technical language twice, ODL. Open and distance learning, I believe you mean?
Correct. That's correct. Open and distance learning.
Okay. But then there is a place of support. You've mentioned some big names here, and there are those who are wondering, wait a minute, I don't belong in that category yet, but you've also spoken about the flexibility in finances. But then how about support? What kind of support does Miva offer to your students? And in what ways do you prepare your students for the job market?
So this is a great question because, as a technology-first institution, you mentioned that we were founded by ULASN. As a technology-first institution, we care a lot about collecting data and feedback. And this is something that we do with our learners every single semester. I've mentioned some of the offerings we have: live lessons, office hours, pre-recorded content. But what we've gotten back from our students as far as what has been the most impactful thing for them has been what we call success advisors. And success advisors are assigned to every single student at Miva. And these success advisors call our students, check in on them on a consistent basis to ensure that they have everything that they need to excel at Miva. Wherever they need to be connected to a faculty member or any other additional support, the success advisor is the first line of contact to them. And if you speak to any Miva student, this is one of the most frequent things that you're going to hear, that their success advisor is always there, their success advisor is always contacting them, making sure that they're on the track that they need to be in order to be successful at the school. In addition to this, we also have office hours, so our students can set up meetings with their faculty members and talk with them one-on-one, get their specific questions answered. But when you take a step back and think about the purpose of a university, right? We want to set people up to be successful in their careers, whether that's they're starting their own business or they're going into the employer market. And we are very intentional about setting up our students who want to be employed for that. So I've mentioned that we're tech first. We're building a platform, and I won't say too much about this. Join Miva and you'll get to learn more. But we're setting up a platform that's going to be very instrumental in connecting our students with employers. We've already started, because of the relationships that we have, to give our students opportunities to intern at some world-class organizations, and that's going to be happening over the course of the year as we build out that platform that I'm talking about. Okay,
well, interesting. Let me ask you, Mr. Kwiti, about your program offerings. What programs does Miva offer, and what are the requirements?
All right, thank you for that question, Ayo. We launched with a School of Computing. The School of Computing has cutting-edge courses like a bachelor's in computer science, cyber security, data science, software engineering, and information technology. We have a School of Management and Social Sciences with bachelor's programs in economics, accounting, public policy, entrepreneurship, mass communication and media studies, and accounting. We also have a School of Allied Health, which is very important to us because we know what the healthcare deficits are in Nigeria. We have a School of Allied Health that has courses in nursing science and public health. Recently, we also got licensed by the National Universities Commission to offer postgraduate programs. So we have an MBA class, a Master's in Business Administration class, launching in September. Already students are enrolling for this. We're going to offer the best-in-class business management masters that will have global status. The requirements to get into Miva Open University, like we said, we are an ODL university, but we are the same as a full-fledged university anywhere in the country. In fact, the Honorable Minister for Education 2 weeks ago made a policy statement that degrees from ODL universities are the same. They are equivalent to the degrees that you obtain from conventional universities. So the admission requirements to our undergraduate programs are the same. You need to have your 5 O-level credits, including English and mathematics. Of course, the other ones pertaining to the program that you've applied for. Now, as an open distance learning university, you do not need to have sat the JAMB UTME in the year that you apply. Open universities students can enroll in open universities through the distance learning application system also provided by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. So for the many people who are interested now and in the future to enroll into Miva Open University, you will go to our website, miva.university. Once you apply, we will guide you through application with us, and we will also guide you through the processes you need to do with JAMB. So these are the requirements to make it most accessible to students who want to study at Miva. Thank you, Ayo.
Sound easy already and enticing for some people. And, well, Ms. Umo mentioned some people who have attended Miva, and she made sure that she mentioned very, very important persons, which is a good thing. She's a marketer. I can't take that away from her. But what can you share some success stories of some of your students who have, and how they have balanced work and life, and how they balance work and life with education, with the support of Miva?
All right, thank you so much for that, Ayo, and that is important to us, to offer the flexibility that means that you don't have to stop what you're doing. You can keep being whatever you are, you can keep contributing to society and to the economy, yet obtain a high-quality degree. We have a student of ours who is a footballer, Sporting Lagos. He plays professional football. I mean, he's on the field, he does his training, he does his league matches, yet he's a public policy student at Miva. And he's up to date with his studies because of the support that we offer. We have another student, when we did exams are written physically. We have centers all over the country where you come in to attend your exams. We have a student who is a director in one of the federal ministries here in Abuja. We had exams and he came in the morning for a morning paper, did an 8 to 10 a.m. morning paper. He went back to the office, did some work, came back in the afternoon to do his afternoon paper. So he continued to be present at his job, continue to contribute there, yet he wrote exams. And I tell you, those subjects he did that day, he had A's in those subjects. So that's the kind of flexibility we offer. There are many examples of this nature. There are people who are nurses, who are full-time nurses, who combine their work and their study. When they have exams, they may take a 1-week leave, come in to a center, do that exam. Another thing we offer is to write those statutory physical exams. You do not need to leave your city. You can do your exam right in the city where you live or somewhere close. Our nursing students, as obtained in the university system, have to go to do practicum, clinical practicum in tertiary hospitals all over the country. What we've also done for flexibility is we form partnerships with a hospital in your city, a tertiary hospital in your city. You don't need to travel from Benue to Abuja or from Calabar to Port Harcourt to do your practicum. Right in your city, you can get that done to the highest quality. So this is the type of flexibility. There are many of these stories. These are just a few. Thank you, Ayo.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kwiti. Well, Ms. Moore, what would be your appeal or your word of encouragement to anyone watching right now who is already being pulled in by your sweet words?
Thank you, Ayo. I will say, I hope you hear these words that, we understand what's happening in the economy. We don't think that anybody needs to choose between a professional life and career progression and education progression, right? You can continue to earn, then you can learn at Miva, and you can earn more. So my call to you is go visit our website, miva.university, check out the programs that we have on offer, check out our MBA, which is launching September 2024. Applications are already open. We already have students enrolling. So go, there's definitely something for you at Miva, and you truly will be impressed by the experience that you have, just as our over 2,700 students already have.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Umo, for that, and we can only wish you and the organization well. Anyekeme Umo is Vice President Operations, Miva Open University. We've also had with us Mr. Atianye Akwete, who is a registrar, Miva Open University. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and all the best all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ayo.
Thank you so much, Ayo.
You're welcome. We're back right after now. It's Lifestyle Next. Please stay with us.
Loved you in the summer, the day I'll always remember. Took your hands and put them in mine, and it felt so divine. Promises that we swore to keep, the words we said, baby, they were just too deep. My Romeo out with the Juliet. If it's all legit, more darling, no go wake me. I'm in a movie, yeah. My heart did beat fast, be anytime you need me, yeah. No one's gonna love you like the way I can. So baby, no pretend I'll be the only one for you. Cause I've been falling for you. Be the one with them on my side. Oh boy, I'm falling for you. Whoa. If you leave, I could craze for you. The things you do make my depression. Promise you stay with me. They say I'm a fool, maybe I'm a fool for you. My Romeo, I'll be the Juliet. If it's all legit, more darling, no go wake me. Kinda feels like I'm in a movie.
We just got done talking about Open University, open and distance learning, and open university education. In other words, you sit in your house and you're attending university education. That's just one of those legs of technology. Then there is now work from home. There is a state, I'm not sure, I think it's south or southeast state in Nigeria, that's assigned days where people go to the farm and do their office work from home, and then they spend other days physically at the office. I know a number of organizations that do the same. They work from home almost all week, and maybe 1 or 2 days they just show up at the office so that they know that they are still human beings doing a lot of things for themselves. So that naturally comes up with quite some challenge on its own, doesn't it? Tech-life balance. You've always heard of work-life balance. How about tech-life balance? Well, Akin Bitoye is with us here this morning. He's a digital advisor, or tech advisor, if you want to call him. He's also a very well-known UI, UX expert as Spirit. That's what some people call him. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist. There's no way I would resist that.
Good morning, viewers.
People hear and talk about work-life balance, but rarely tech-life balance, even though it has literally altered our lives.
So with any novelty, humans tend to go to the extreme. Then we go to the other extreme, then we meander
struggle with the balance.
about. That's usually how it is. Technology is supposed to enhance our lives, help us do things better, exponentially increase our output and services, so to speak. But we rely on it too much, then lose ourselves. Most times we lose our health, we lose the ability to actually create because we more or less offload all those abilities to technology. So finding the balance is non-negotiable.
Now, perhaps a good way to even look at that is whether or not people actually understand the injury that comes from overusing technology. I read some years ago that too much screen time dulls the brain. That was a little scary. But how do you now balance that with the fact that almost everything you do in the global urban life now is through the screen?
A small screen. Not to be fatalistic, but when you take a walk, your eyes focus on different objects, far and near, so you get to exercise your iris in your eyes. But when you are focused on a small screen, laptop, tablet, phone, even smartwatch, and any of these Internet of Things screens, you do not get to exercise your eyes. After some time, you feel strain. When we are on our phones, we usually bend our necks. After a long time, you notice, I have neck pain. Yes, that's one. And we get more sedentary now. With technology, we are always in one spot. Either you're working from home, which is why this the tech health and health technology industry is booming now, because now you have smartwatches that remind you to get up every 30 minutes. Get up because you've been seated for too long and your back, your legs. You just need your blood pumping so that your brain, too much tech does your brain. When your
too much
screen time, when you are sedentary, your heart rate is just normal. And your brain needs a lot of oxygen. So the more your blood pumps, your heart pumps blood faster, the more your brain gets oxygen. So it's actually counterproductive for us. So getting the balance is, yes, you have screen time, but unless you have dedicated time or time slots for technology, then you actually live like a human being. Because really, most people hide behind the screen and do wreak all sort of havoc. But when you come to real life, oh yeah, so now I need to eat. Until they find a way where you can get fed digitally.
Oh, how is that going to happen?
Oh, it can.
Oh,
it can.
You can be fed.
We have microchips under the skins now. People have heart devices in their heart to help them prevent heart attacks. So just a matter of time before we get fed digitally, but we'll wait until then. Sci-fi.
Would you eat digital food?
We were saying then that would you print digital babies, but yeah, now they can print cells, human cells, but technology is going faster.
Don't bust our brains yet.
It's going faster.
You mentioned the crucial nature of tech-life balance, and as important as that is, a good number of people may not even be giving it the kind of attention that it deserves, because it has a crucial effect on our mental health, on our productivity, and overall well-being. So, what are the strategies that you would suggest?
First of all, you need to have time where you unplug. And I mean that in every sense of the word, unplug. When you spend a lot of time online, for example, social media, and you make a post, you are tempted to check how many people like. Are you viral? Are the opinions positive? Are they negative? Do people like me? Do people hate me? Are people dissing me? All of those. A couple of people have actually committed suicide because they trended for the wrong reasons online. This is real. So unless we have meaningful relationships, meaningful connections offline, people that you can actually talk to, flesh and blood, that you can talk to, hear their voice. Yeah, psychologists have said that we need human interactions, as in people need hugs to feel, oh, I am loved. Okay, somebody has my back. But most of the people online, you can have 1 million followers and not have a single friend among them. Yeah, technology makes it possible. In the early days, late 2010s, once you have 5,000 friends on Facebook, you feel like an important person. How many of them do you know? You just click accept, accept, accept. So having meaningful relationships offline and having time that you actually disconnect. The world will not come to an end if you do not check Twitter, X, if you do not check Facebook. No. Once we have tunnel vision, we're like, oh, my to-do list for today. When you wake up in the morning and the first thing you check is Instagram, you have a problem. I make bold to say that. Before technology became this proliferated, we lived. Before there were mobile phones, we lived. You wake up, either you read, if you're religious, you pray. If you don't, you just go about your business. Then when you get to work or to school or to wherever you're going, you meet people. But now, you want to know what the latest trend is before you get out of bed. Oh no, don't start your day like that. So to be emotionally fit, to be happy, to have your sense of well-being, okay, should be on your own terms, not on other people's terms. Okay. And if they hail you today, they will drag you tomorrow.
Okay, that's one. How about, because, you know, I've heard all kinds of people, CEOs, pastors, whoever, say that you just want to check something quickly. And before you know what is happening, 30 minutes is gone.
Oh.
Okay. So are there tools that you can use to set these boundaries? You know, maybe you can say, okay, you know what, I'm done at this time. Okay.
Technology, like I mentioned earlier, seeks to aid or improve or help us. If you don't want to be helped, no technology can help you. So yes, there are apps, there are screen guards, there are security guards put in place by the manufacturers of the phones. Hardware and software manufacturers help you to set screen time that once it's so time, your screen will lock. Yes, you can unlock it, but then you know that you chose to spend more than that. And of course,
So wait a minute. There are in the devices we have,
yes,
you can actually create a time when your screen locks.
Yes. In settings for iOS users, Android users, or whatever other operating system you have. The reason being, developed countries have actually taken up these OEMs, or the original equipment manufacturers, to set up things that safeguards. There was a time Meta, owners of Instagram, was actually sued in the EU that young girls actually are suicidal because of doom scrolling and because all sorts are happening online.
Pause. What's doom?
Doom scrolling is when you just keep scrolling. You know, when you scroll to the end of something, you know that, oh, I'm at the end, let me go do something else.
It doesn't end.
Because the reason you are using Instagram for free, Facebook for free, is because what they sell is you. Seriously. Or let me put it more succinctly. What they sell are eyeballs to the advertisers. Oh, we have 1 billion users. Please come. Give us your pennies. We'll give you the people. So you can never get to the end. You will keep scrolling because the algorithm learns what you are interested in. So the moment you're like, okay, by 5 minutes, I want to stop. Then you see a new skit. Oh, I like that. Okay. Then the next, oh, I like this guy that wears short blue tie. Oh, Sabinus. No, where I'm going is that's what they sell. You. So unless you choose...
So you are the products.
Of course. Anything free, somebody's paying for it. Yes. So whatever you search on Google, somebody has put it there. But I make bold to say there are some things Google will not find. You know why? What it cannot find? Something that is in my mind that I have not put out yet. Seriously. So people who authoritatively tell you, I saw it on Google. Excuse me? If somebody wants to lie and they put it online, the Google algorithm crawls the web, finds it, displays it as a result. So, oh, you're searching for this? Oh, here you are.
But that is the truth or a lie.
Seriously.
Okay, so in the coming days, you have to, show us some of these things, how people can...
It will be my pleasure.
How about, because you talked about people meeting real people, online and all of that. Perhaps one of the challenges we have is being mindful of the use of technology. Because just as you said, it can be very, very tempting. Yeah, I mean, it can be very tempting. Even things that you don't want to see, someone sent you a link, you just checked that link, and then you closed it. Next time, it's links like that are coming in your timeline.
They don't build multi-billion-dollar businesses by giving it or leaving it up to chance. They have full-time psychologists, psychiatrists, and behavioral scientists who know what people want, how they behave. But they don't leave it up to chance. They actually have you studied. They have you down to a T. Just search for tie on Google or on any of these e-commerce platforms. For the next 2 weeks, you are done for. Different types of tie, not just on your laptop. That's where it gets creepy. Not just on your laptop, on your phones, on your tablets. It literally follows you anywhere. If you have a smart TV and you watch YouTube on it, the rest assured you see adverts for tie on your TV. Why? They track you. We are all being tracked. So what can you do, or what should you do? You need to use ad blockers if you don't want to be tracked. You don't want your activities tracked. Because if, peradventure, someone inadvertently searches for something private that I cannot say on air, it follows you everywhere. No, seriously. So we need to be more mindful about our devices, maybe sharing it or having people have unauthorized access to them. The way central bank is protected is different from the way... No, it's different from how a POS terminal or a POS operator is protected.
Okay. How about, you talked about people unplugging.
Yes.
There's also something you guys call digital detox.
If you take if you take a week, 2 weeks, you take it in bits, because going cold turkey can actually be counterproductive. Cold turkey is you just unplug and you just disappear. You will feel withdrawal symptoms. No, seriously. So if you tell yourself, within this hour and this hour, I'm not touching my phone, you will realize that, you will know that your mind will go there once in a while, like, what's going on? I'm missing the trend. But if you successfully do that, then you can extend it. So digital detox is, I'm going offline, except your business is online or is really dependent on you being online, in which case you should get an assistant, a virtual assistant at that. But if it depends on you alone, then you're really not free, because when you are sick or you are indisposed, it means your business will still go down anyway. So what you need to do is to plan times to be offline. You will notice that you'll be happier. You don't have to join the latest thread or the latest, what's going on, who's the latest gist. When you're offline, you're like, okay, grab a book, physical book. No, seriously, we tell ourselves we want to read online, want to read your Bible, you want to read your Quran online, then you see the latest notification, say, okay, I'll pause, let me quickly check. There's no quickly when it comes to digital, especially social media.
Okay, how about now, you talked about, your business being online and all of that. That balance of work and life is difficult, especially for mothers.
You have to go there. Okay. Work from home has been a thing since time immemorial. But of course, the lockdown, COVID-19 made it very visible. So, okay, we need to cut down operations, and people did, and they didn't die. In fact, their overhead reduced, because now you don't have to buy diesel. Now people can make do with what they have from home. Just make sure you report and you deliver on your deliverables. So for mothers especially, it's tough. You know why it's tough? Have you been on work calls before? And you hear, no, it's hard. And of course, they need help. And I'm speaking to my fellow brothers. Yes, you know how we are. Please help as much as you can if you work from. If you don't, please get them help. Because really, the world these days has gone beyond just one person being the breadwinner. That breadwinner thing has gone out the window. Which bread are you winning? Let's all contribute to the benefit of this family. Who would all be the happier for it? Because when one person slaves away for too long, the person burns out, then, so then you fight. That's topic for another day. So for working mothers, I think you should get help. If you cannot afford to get help, please, you need to rearrange it with your husband. Because you, for example, there's someone who is a boss at work, has people reporting to her, but she has to still attend to the children. 1 child, 2 children, 3 children. It's not easy, especially when they're on holidays. The last holidays, a friend of mine told me she does not know how she will survive for the next 10 days. I said, 10 days out. Said they have midterm for a week. Then there was this public holiday, 2 days, then they will resume.
I think I've scraped a wound. Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I would recommend.
Advice.
Technology made it so simple that our work and life has blended into each other. But you need to have, work time is so time to so time, right?
Okay.
Once work is on, you can attend. Then once work is over, my wife says something, do not bring work into the room. Being a tech person, I am always online.
Otherwise, you go and live.
There's always something.
Go and live in the
one mail to reply, one troubleshooting. But
well, we as I said, I mean, people who need to learn a number of things that you know from some of these things. Because when you say people they track me, how can they untrack me? You maybe teach us that some other time. Akin Bitoye, tech advisor. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Just before we take the home stretch, let's take the wrap.
Welcome, people. Of course, it's been a loaded week in the showbiz space, and you know what that means, an unending supply of stories on the wrap on Sunrise. My name is Abide Medairo, so let's get straight into the business end of the day. Now, there can be only one word to describe the week in showbiz world, and that word is... Yes, you guessed right. Chivido 2024. I mean, the final wedding rites of Davido and Chioma finally hits a crescendo in the manner of speaking on Tuesday. The build-up to the event itself, and the post-event stories, including a mention from Nicki Minaj, have all been big talking points across the week.
Davido get married? Congratulations to Davido and Chioma.
The multiple award-winning Davido stepped out in the company of his Steady BG gang, including manager Asa, Soso, Spesh, and former lawyer Bobo Ajudua, with whom many were not sure if he still enjoyed a cordial relationship. I guess his presence has now put all of that speculation to rest. The bride, Chioma, arrived in 2-column train of maids. One set were donned in the traditional Igbo ceremonial ensembles, while the others matched the groomsmen's golden color. After all the formalities, the duo had their first dance as a couple to the sonorous sound of singer Chike. And later a surprise performance from the YBNL head honcho, Olamide. Speaking about Olamide, the Grammy nominee is getting a fair mention on the trends table with the surprise release of a new extended play project titled Ikigia. According to the self-professed Bado, the title is a Japanese word for essence of being. The 7-track EP features guest appearances from current label signees Ashake and Fireboy DML and ex-YBNL acts including Pills, Young John and Lil Kesh on the track Synchro System, which has turned out to be the early fans' favorites. I would trade it all. Don't stop. And again, we are back to yet another celebrity wedding, and this time it's in Nollywood. Screen diva Sharon Oja finally ties the knot with a mystery man of many months who has now been revealed to be the businessman Ugo Nwoke at a lavish event in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The event was attended by popular on-screen faces including Funke Akindele, Enedima Okoje, Bisola Ayiola, Shafi Bello, Hilda Basi, and many others.
You give me so much breaking news.
Now, comedian, actor, and creator of the web series Visa on Arrival, Bobby Ugboma, believes the agency of government targeted by the satire is unfortunately being entertained by the series rather than reflecting on some of the actions. While speaking at the premiere of the 5th season in Lagos, Southwest Nigeria, Bobby told me that while the comic satire has been well received across board, it doesn't appear like it's bothering the government agency.
Brother, what we get is, yo, you have been making us. This thing what they do, we will do you back, you know. So I don't know if it's working, if I'll be honest, because the people or the what's the word I'm looking for now? The system we are trying to mirror is actually being more entertained than reflecting, you know.
Now, still in Nollywood, the National Film and Video Censors Board has issued filmmakers and social media content creators a final warning against production and distribution of same-sex relationship content. The board, in a statement signed by the executive director, Mr. Shaibu Hussaini, notes that some prohibited and unclassified content have been slipping through various digital distribution platforms, including via social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Now, that's the much time has permitted us to take on the wrap on Sunrise today. But remember, you can catch up on a lot more on our various social media handles showing on your screens. And of course, our website. My name is Abide Midairo, and it's back to Ayo and Alero for the Sunrise home stretch.
Well, interestingly, Bidemi, I'm personifying the two of us today, Alero and Ayo. So is Ayo here now? Alero is somewhere in the spirit. But, I mean, coming from the wrap of entertainment, we have, of course, an entertainer in the studio with us here. Her name is Constance. She's young and she is beautiful. And you've seen one of her songs earlier on today. Thank you for joining us, Constance.
Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, for how long have you been doing this?
Since I was like 12.
Okay. And
Yeah.
that's how many years ago?
I'm 19 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's about, my math is not very good. So
Mine too.
Yours too. Oh, gosh. And I know that you have to calculate bars.
It's something like that.
Okay, so how's it been?
So far, it's been great since my debut single last year, titled Melo. It's been great. Now I have a new song out featuring Majid. And yeah, it's been rough, you know. There's definitely a rough time, you know, when you have to mix school with music, because I'm not done yet. But then it's been great.
So how did it start for you? How did you decide that I want to do music?
Really, it's like music has just been there because I come from a singing family, but then I'm just the only one that took it seriously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think from when I grew up to singing in churches, I was like, yeah, I think this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm going to do. And yeah, I've been following that line.
And how did mommy or daddy take it?
They are very supportive of my music.
When you started at 12, they were very supportive.
Yes, they're very, very supportive of my music. Yeah, my mom would even take me to the competitions I went to, because I went to a lot of competitions. You know, my dad would say, Constance, what's in Lonnie?
Well, if once mommy supports, daddy has no choice. Daddy has to fall in line.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dad. You really didn't have a choice in this matter. But, you know, as you said, every profession, every endeavor comes with its challenges. What are some of those that you would say you've encountered?
I think school is definitely number one.
What are you studying?
History.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's easy enough.
I
I don't know. What do I know, really? I mean,
hey, no. I mean, history is fun, but then history and music, I might be writing exams and then I have to record the next day. And I'm writing my songs myself. So it's like, did I start to... It's history that is on my head right now. I have to start thinking, oh God, no, this is not about history, Constance, it is music.
Okay, give us an example of one of those tough times.
I had to leave a whole semester because I had work to do. I had to travel to London. It's like, is it that I pick London or pick school? And I'm like, I'm on. I'll work school out. I will work it out. I think I've been able to write the ones I missed. Yeah. That is something that would actually affect me because it's like, where am I going to start from? I just missed the whole semester. But I've been able to juggle music and school together so far, and yeah.
Okay. You just gave an example of tough decisions that have to be taken.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them have you had to take, and what are some of the things that you have to consider? What role does mommy or daddy play in taking these tough decisions? Because they are the ones paying for the school.
Yeah.
And when I say, okay, don't worry, leave school for now. I'm wondering.
Well, when I had to tell my mom that, Mommy, I'm going to do this music thing. This is what you have signed up for. And I told you that it's going to get tougher than this. I might just decide that, okay, at least I'm not dropping out. I don't think I want to drop out. I really want to finish school. Yeah. I'm so glad for the kind of mother I have. She's really understanding, and she understands that there are some things that I would have to like push down a little bit, yeah, as an upcoming artist.
Okay, on your way home, just buy mom a laurel. At least they'll know that you're grateful. Now, tell us about your music. What is the signature on your music? What differentiates your songs from any other person's song out there?
Well, I think what differentiates my sound from others, I don't know if it's like much of a difference, but I put a lot of soul in my music. No matter even if it's a cover, I would definitely find a way to redefine it and make it constant. So that is what I know is different for me. And the way I take my music to a very spiritual level. It doesn't matter if it is a love song, if it's an heartbreak song. You would definitely, if you hear it, you definitely know that, oh yes, this is constant singing.
Okay, so there are many young people in the world today. In fact, Africa is considered a young continent because about 60 or 70% of the population of Africa is below, we're hovering around 35, you know. So what's your message for them? Your life is definitely telling a story, and a good number of people around would want to learn, okay, what is it that this girl is able to, how is she able to do this?
I mean, first of all, you have to know where you are going to. You have to have a goal. You know, okay, I'm doing this. What are the ways that I can reach where I'm going to? Also, before you get there are definitely going to be stumbling blocks, you know, and you have to let go of a lot of things, but then you just have to just keep going if you really, really want to meet up to that goal, you know, and it can be very hard and tough, you know, and coming from a 19-year-old, I've not even seen half of what is to come. Yeah, but then you just have to keep grinding and, you know, keep your head up high.
Okay. Well, I'd like to listen to a bit of that song that you say you have a new one right now. What's the title?
My Heart, featuring Majid.
Your Heart featuring my heart is the title. Let's see if we can listen to a little bit of it.
Yeah. Do I give you peace, my baby? Do I make you smile anytime you see me, baby? Damn me long, baby, baby. Yeah. I wonder what's in your mind, oh, that cool, baby. Nah. If I give you my heart, that could my check off for. Take away all the pain, give you some good love. If I give you my heart, that could my check off for. That could my check in some good. That could my loss alone.
Down my feelings for you. I could buy you the world only if I could. Share, you know, say you're the light in my shadow. I know feel tired. You don't give me your heart, go need your bow. If I give you my heart, that could my check for. Take away all the pain.
Oh, wow.
I'll give you some good
The heart don't break finish now. What inspired this one?
Actually, Majid's loveness, because Majid does a lot of love songs. That is, and I have not experienced love. So Majid is the one that has experienced love. So I wrote the song in the perspective of, oh, if I finally get to fall in love with someone, please don't break my heart. Like I'm pleading in advance.
Well, I listened to a song by, I think, Rick Hassani or something like that. The title of the song was Thunder Fire You.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't even, you know. So now that's a love song.
Yeah.
And making an appeal in advance. But that's not to say that that's not going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen to you. But, you know, in the industry, what's your understanding of the music industry in Nigeria for now?
Really, I'm not even going to lie. I've not fully understood the industry because, I mean, I'm still very fresh. But one thing I know is you have to stand your ground. That is one thing that I've learned so far. Being in the industry, you have to stand your ground. You have to that. Yes, I've come for this thing. There's no how you cannot move me from here, and I'm here to stay.
Okay. How has being young worked for you or worked against you?
It has worked for me because it's like people are like, oh, okay, see that small girl. Look at how she sounds. She's very. And I take that as a compliment a lot, because like. And I think a way that it has worked against me is like sometimes some people belittle me. It's like she doesn't know what she's doing. What does she know? And I think that happens a lot sometimes. Yeah, it does. And it's like you don't even know what I have to bring to the table. You already have this conclusion that, okay, let her just come and sing. It's like they think I don't know what I'm singing and they think I don't know what I want. But it's like, that's just the wrong.
So what are your aspirations?
My aspirations, I want to be on the top. That's all I've ever dreamed of, starting from when I just opened my mouth in church and sang. It's like that place. And it's like, it's not just my dream. It's my late sister's dream too. She said, I want you to be a superstar. And it's like, at the same time, I'm fulfilling my dream and I'm fulfilling hers. And I know and I have the feeling that I would definitely get there.
Okay, in terms of aspirations, one of the ways that I think I've heard that musicians, music makers such as yourself, rise in the ranks is kind of collaborate with one artist or the other, the way you are doing with Majid. So What are those? Which of those artists do you look for to, man, if I should collaborate with this guy once, I don't glue?
That would be Rema.
Rema?
Definitely Rema. Rema or Thames.
Why? There are so many of them.
Yes, there are definitely so many of them. But I think the top 3 I would really love to collaborate with is Rema, Thames, and Burna Boy.
Oh, and why is that?
These people have history. Like, for example, Rema just, boom, just flew up. I told someone that if I could meet Rema right now, I would not even take a picture. I would just tell him to just sit down with me and talk to me for like 5 hours on how you just did it. I know, don't tell me, I know those ones already. Really tell me what I want to know.
How did it happen?
How did it happen? I know you have to record there and nice, blah, blah, blah. Just talk to me like I am your younger sister.
So you need mentorship from such a person?
Yeah, from someone like Rema, like if we could just sit and have a talk, I would really appreciate it.
Well, Rema, you have heard of. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And I can only wish you the best. You can be sure that we'll support you the most we can.
Thank you.
All the way.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations and all the best.
Thank you.
All right. And Constance is our wrap on the program this morning, our home stretch. And I hope you have had fun. I hope we have been able to educate you. I hope we have been able to excite you. 3 odd hours that we've had so far. Till next week, do have a beautiful rest of your weekend and bye for now.